So again, we just got the developments today. There was an arrest in Wendy's case. That suspect that you guys were already looking for, you knew who he was found in Louisiana. Maybe walk me through the investigation and how you got here now. Who wants to take that?
I'd say first our condolences and prayers definitely go out to the family and the friends of Wendy. You know, just a tragic accident, tragic situation to begin with, not an accident, tragic situation. But after we responded for the report of gunfire and detectives located Wendy in the backyard, very extensive investigation, ongoing investigation at this point, interviews with witnesses, canvassing the neighborhood and things of that nature. But Sergeant Levan can definitely speak to it was his team that led the investigation. Sergeant Levan was on scene. He worked relentlessly for days straight, you know, trying to find the suspect in this case, and I'd let Matt speak on that.
Yeah, I'd say there were witnesses that were interviewed. There was video evidence that was located in and around the houses, or the houses in the area. Yeah. So the video was reviewed. There was license plate technology that was reviewed, where a vehicle was located that belonged to the suspect. So coupling all that together during the investigation, we were able to obtain an arrest warrant for Mr. Thompson. At that point, we worked with our federal partners on the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force and their counterparts in Louisiana. And they were able to yesterday take him into custody in Shreveport.
Do you know where he was found? Was it at a gas station, a hotel? Do we know where he was found in Louisiana?
It was a house, it was a residence, but I don't know the connection to that house to him.
And do you know how long he was in Louisiana, or how, approximately had made the trip from, the Houston area to Louisiana?
Yeah, we believe he was probably there about 2 days.
2 days.
Correct.
And also, too, with the investigation, and I don't know if this is, we did know it was a domestic dispute. We do know that they had met a week prior. There was some speculation that they may have met online or social media. Can you confirm any of that?
Yeah, the information that we received was they met online on an app. And they knew each other exactly about a week. I think they met a couple days prior to New Year's Eve, but the first time they'd actually physically seen each other was New Year's Eve.
Do you know what app that was, what dating app it was?
I believe it was Meet Me.
Meet Me.
Meet Me? Meet Me.
A dating, online
I believe it's a
dating.
dating, some kind of dating app.
And also just the nature of the case too as well, her being found, neighbors hearing the gunshots, her body being found outside in the backyard. Do you believe, since it was said to be a domestic dispute that led to this, that she was trying to get out, like she was trying to escape?
The information that we have from the witnesses is that there was an argument that ensued inside the house between the two parties. It kind of spilled into the backyard, and then our witnesses had heard gunfire, and the suspect had left the scene at that point.
So you don't know if she was necessarily trying to run away from him, but whatever happened and whatever fight or altercation that happened inside the home then kind of led out into the
backyard. Yeah, the scene didn't indicate any type of like running away or her trying to escape or anything like that.
I see. What was your message? Well, is there anything else in the investigation? Obviously, and this is one point obviously I want you to talk to as well. We know that he is being transferred to the Fort Bend County Jail. Can you talk about the charges, and can you talk about that process? You said it may not be for another, could be month.
Sure, it could. So currently he's charged with murder. A district court judge in Fort Bend County signed an arrest warrant early Sunday morning, issuing a $500,000 bond for Mr. Thompson. There is an extradition process that he has to go through in the state of Louisiana, and depending on that hearing and the results of that hearing depends on how long it takes for him to get back in the state of Texas.
So right now, we did the initial press release was saying that he was being currently transported to in the process of being transferred to Fort Bend County Jail. That extradition process, you said, could take a week to months, so it's not something that could be happening overnight.
That's the information we're receiving. So in the somewhat near future, he will be back in the state of Texas. We just don't know if it's going to be a week, a couple weeks, or longer than that.
Anything else in the investigation that you think is, I forgot to ask about, or you think that is important for the story, where you guys are at, and just how you were able, gosh, the timeline of this is also a blessing for this family to get some closure. It just happened last Saturday. Sometimes these types of things could go on for weeks and months. To find out that there was a quick arrest and the quick work of investigators, maybe talk to about that.
Yeah, and again, just like the chief stated, our condolences go out to her family, her friends. She was a local school teacher. Information, she was loved by family and friends. So it was a brutal murder, sadly for her and her family and her friends. So we're able to do our part, a little part in what we can do to try to bring him to justice. So we worked as hard as we can. We had detectives working tirelessly for days straight, and they were able to develop the information to get an arrest warrant on him, and then to develop information on where he was at to get him into custody. So that was our part that we could do to bring him to justice.
Do you know if he was, he doesn't seem to have prior history. I think we saw one case of a family violence and from last year, but do you think that maybe there was other potential people he hurt or victimized through this app?
Yeah, that we don't know, or we don't have information that leads us to believe there's anybody else. His criminal history is there was a 2022 Harris County misdemeanor arrest of family violence, and then he has a drug charge in Montgomery County and a theft charge in 2018 also out of Harris County. That's the only known criminal history that we know of.
But nothing else related to the dating app or
Correct.
What transpired over
Correct.
the last couple of days?
Correct.
What would you say to people? This is the second, and maybe Chief, this may be a better question for you, whoever's more comfortable. What would you say to people on dating apps? This is kind of the second. I think we had one with Bumble, a lady who was held at her own will a couple weeks ago. I want to say not even a week ago that we covered something like this. What would you tell to the public and people who are obviously online dating is very popular, but as a warning or a message to be aware of
Chief,
how this could end?
I think, the best thing is it's overall awareness and communicating with your parents, your family, your friends. Hey, this is what I'm doing. This is who I'm going out with. This is where we're meeting. Are we meeting in a very public place? Are there other people around? Things of that nature. There's got to be a general awareness of, the potential factors that are out there when you're meeting someone online who you're just communicating with through a phone. You don't know that individual. What are they hiding? What are they not sharing with you? So definitely, if you're going to go that route, I think I would share, what I'm doing with my friends, with my family, let someone know where I'm going to be, who I'm supposed to be meeting with, and then meet in very public places and try to get to know folks.